You're watching Community Conversations, a Concord TV production.
And welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Josh Hardy. I'm the Executive Director at Concord TV. And we have a really great show today where we're going to be talking with the Chamber of Commerce and about some of their events they have coming up. So with me, I have Tim Sink, President of the Chamber of Commerce of Greater Concord, and Emily Marsh. You are the Event and Marketing Coordinator. Thanks, guys, for coming in and doing this whole virtual thing again with us today. So
thanks for having us.
So really the big thing that I wanted to bring you guys in to talk about is you have your virtual business showcase coming up on the 16th of July.
Sure, Josh. Yeah, the Business Showcase has been a tradition with the Chamber for almost 30 years now, and it is a trade show that takes place here in Concord. It's very popular in the business community, very popular for business-to-business networking. There are typically somewhere around 100 exhibitors and several hundred people that will show up to this event. And we originally had the event scheduled in April at the Grapponi Center. And then COVID hit, and so we started pushing it off and thinking, well, maybe we can do it in June or maybe July, maybe in the fall. And it got to the point where we just thought that the event was not going to work too well, or not going to be able to take place face-to-face. So we started experimenting and looking at it, exploring the possibility of holding it virtually. And I've got some very creative colleagues, Emily Marsh and Brianna Marceau. So we did some brainstorming in terms of how that might work. And actually we're able to experiment with a model of it by running a business after hours type event virtually on Zoom, where we brought people into breakout rooms and did some kind of interesting treatment. And it was an experiment, but it was surprisingly effective. So we were kind of excited about that and decided that launching the showcase like this would make a lot of sense. We're very, very pleased to have our key sponsors back, Merrimack County Savings Bank and Unitil are our presenting sponsors. And I think Emily can do a much better job than I can in terms of talking about what this thing is really going to look like for people that are both exhibiting and people that are just visiting.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned our past virtual networking event, Tim. That was such a cool experiment, and we got some great feedback from people who attended it. So what it looked like, if you can picture this in your mind, is a Zoom meeting. But when you have so many people in a meeting, of course, no one can talk because there's too many people on screen, too many voices that need to be heard, and you can't hold a conversation. So we held the event utilizing Zoom breakout rooms, which means that there's a large meeting. So picture, maybe 50 people are in this meeting, and they all go into small groups of maybe 5 to 7 people. And then within those groups, they can turn on their mics and chat with each other, talk for a little bit, socialize, network, and then they're all brought back into that main room where during this networking event, we heard from our sponsor, and we drew some fun door prizes, and yeah, it was a really cool event. So the virtual business showcase will be in the same format, but this time in those small breakout rooms, we'll have exhibitors. So when you enter a room, it's sort of like stopping by their booth, and you can chat with the exhibitors and some other attendees that are there, and then you zoom off into another room and you meet some more exhibitors. And what's really good about these events is that they're actually really easy to participate in. We've made some really great instruction sheets that make it easy to maneuver Zoom. We have options on, if you're going to join on a computer, we have some separate instructions for that versus on a smartphone. You join, and then you just sit back, and the host, which will be us, will put you in those rooms automatically. So you don't have to do anything. You just join, network,
Made it so easy for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And you can set up a little virtual name tag for yourself. So it can say your name and company, which makes it a lot easier. We received some great feedback from people who went to that networking event that said, this was great because it forced me to meet new people. It's hard to do that in an in-person event because you gravitate towards the people you know, and and have similar conversations. But this mixes it up a little bit, so you'll see people you know, and you'll also meet new people, and best of all, get to know our exhibitors.
Well, that's great with the breakout rooms. It sort of simulates what happens in real life, where we all kind of break off into our little groups. And so it sounds like you guys are the Zoom experts at this point, Emily, huh? You at this point?
Well, we're giving it our best shot. We've done some Zoom webinars, which have been very successful, and we're trying out new things, which is exciting. And we just want to help businesses right now, and using these new formats is how we can do that right now.
There are certain benefits in using Zoom for these types of events. Running meetings like this is less expensive, and we can pass those cost savings on to our members. So in other words, at the virtual business showcase, there's no cost for attendees to come. All they have to do is register in advance. And we're seeing some of the same savings for some of the other meetings that we've been holding. Not to say we don't want to go back to face-to-face, we definitely do. But there are some advantages to doing it this way, and it can be quite efficient from a time standpoint as well.
So I think that sort of led Tim, not to go too far into a tangent, but I was wondering, do you guys see that some of what you've learned over the past 4 months of all this in terms of virtual meetings and all of that, do you think some of that will carry over into after COVID-19 has gone past, that it's like, oh, that was cool, we're going to keep doing some of these virtual offerings, as much as we all want to go back to the way things were before too?
Yeah, I do see us using this technology. Again, I do want to go back to face-to-face as soon as we can. I think that's important. I think people like that touch opportunity. But this is very, very efficient, and there may be other ways we can use this. For instance, before Zoom, I was on 2 or 3 conference calls per month, maybe more than that, on the telephone. And I'm sure you've been there. Zoom is a big improvement over a telephone conference call where you can't see anybody and you never know who's talking, and it can be a mess. Zoom is much more manageable, where you can put everybody on mute. You can tell people to mute themselves unless they're talking. They can raise hands, all kinds of advantages. So yeah, I definitely see us using this going forward.
Good. Awesome. Yeah. At least we all have learned something from this, a few things, I think. So I'm just curious, the rest of the event, I was looking on the website, and it looks like there's things going on during the week of virtual showcase, that there's exhibitor Facebook group on Monday the 13th, that you have a networking party on that Tuesday. I guess maybe Emily, if that's a question for you, sort of, could you tell us more about some of those extra things happening throughout the week?
Sure. Yeah. So our exhibitors, besides joining in the main event, we're offering some additional benefits to them, and they include some extra fun things. So you mentioned there's a B2B networking party. So that's just for our exhibitors to join and socialize with each other. That's, it's kind of a fun opportunity, because there isn't really that chance at the in-person event. It's sort of like you're here and the attendees come, and this is a good chance for the exhibitors to chat with each other. We're also boosting a lot of our online promotion for exhibitors and for the event itself. So there's a lot more going on that we haven't done in the past, and some of these things we may promote in the future. So for example, we have this virtual demo day, which is, we're gonna release some fun videos from our exhibitors throughout the day on Wednesday, July 15th, which is the day before the big showcase event. And it's just gonna give some extra attention to those exhibitors who want to participate in that, and boost awareness for the event, and just be a fun way to get to know more exhibitors and see what they're doing.
That's great. Yeah, you guys have done a great job, making lemonade in this case, because it seems like you've put together a really fun and exciting week of activities for everybody. So, and hopefully everybody comes back from 4th of July and they feel like they're ready to get back into networking and that business to business type of interaction. So Tim, I know there's other events like the Pinnacle Awards and Leadership Concord. Could you maybe just give us a quick update on where a few of those things stand?
Oh, sure. I'm glad you mentioned Pinnacle Awards, because we have put that event off. That typically would take place in June, and we're hoping to hold that as a face-to-face meeting, one of our early face-to-face meetings in October. And we're in the process of seeking nominations for Business of the Year, Business Leader of the Year, Nonprofit of the Year, Small Business of the Year. And so I encourage people to consider nominees. This is a very popular event. We've been doing it for, I'm not even sure how long, quite a while now, and it attracts a large audience. We'll probably have to control the size of the audience this year and keep it, for social distancing purposes and that. But hoping that there's a live stream opportunity, and maybe we can knock on your door again, Josh, because people who may not be able to attend would still want to watch it remotely.
Yep.
So we're moving ahead with that, and I think nomination forms are available on the Chamber website. And in terms of Leadership Greater Concord, and you're very familiar with that program as a graduate, as both Emily and I are too, of that program. But we're moving ahead with that.
Not yet, but I've applied, so hopefully.
Hopefully you get in, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I spoke too soon, but yes, I do hope you get in. But we're selecting that class right now, and I think there's still a little bit of time if someone wanted to apply for the program, but that's going to have to happen pretty quickly because we'll be wrapping up that process pretty soon. And that program will launch in September, and we've made a couple of tweaks to it to make it more safe. That's really it's an important aspect to have face-to-face opportunity for the leadership program. Although this past year, towards the end of the year, we did have to do some virtual events because the program wrapped up in May. So I think there were 2 days that just we couldn't bring people together. But like you, I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that there's better opportunity for that going forward. But we're pretty excited. We know we can do it virtually if we have to, but we're going to plan on running the events in a more traditional way.
We also have our annual Funds for Education golf tournament coming up. That's on August 5th. And we're offering 2 options for players this year, with awareness of how people are feeling about safety and all of that right now. So they can either play on our tournament day on August 5th, where we'll be following new safety guidelines and tweaking the event a little bit to make it, safe for everyone. Or they can play before the tournament day and submit their score. So that's new, exciting, and it actually allows more players to sign up for the tournament.
Yeah. And is that happening at Beaver Meadow or?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Mine would be probably breaking 100, but
Me
my
too.
own business there. So, did you guys have anything else in terms of programs, events, anything else that you wanted to get out there today?
Well, we're always going to have ongoing events, and we're an event-heavy organization. The Concord Young Professional Network has a very busy schedule. They've been doing some kind of interesting virtual events. They've been doing trivia nights. They had one at Litherman's recently, and those are quite popular. So so a lot of Concord Young Professional events will be taking place as well. It's just, if you go to the Chamber website, we're doing like a major event almost every week. So there's always something going on. And right now, a lot of them are free.
You can't beat that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't beat free. Well, I'd like to, unless I'm cutting anybody off, but just thank Emily Marsh and Tim Sink for being here, for chatting with me today. And you guys have done such a great job of just adapting. And I think that's reflective of the Concord community, that we all sort of took this weird situation and we haven't really stopped doing what we do. We just found different ways to do it. So kudos to the Chamber for just, you guys give me a good example of what we can do here at Concord TV. And
Thank you for all your support, Josh. We've loved the partnership with Concord TV.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. We really appreciate it.
Hey, we're happy to be partners with you guys. And if you need our live streaming support for events, especially like you mentioned, Tim, when we do the partial capacity crowds and stuff like that, that's where Concord TV comes in. So we're happy to keep working with you guys on that.
Thank you. That's much appreciated, Josh.
And so with that is this week's Community Conversations. Thank you for joining us, and tune in for more content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ConcordNHTV. We'll see you next time. Thank you.